Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Vikings Playbook. And we got another exciting show for you guys today. And if you saw the intro, you probably saw that rap from the Purple Pocket podcast is going to be on today. You know him as the Vocal Vike. Um, he'll be on here after a little bit. He actually just had to go run and go pick up his daughter, so he'll be on in just a little bit. So we have some other things that we'll try to cover before he jumps on the show, and we cover a lot of today's agenda. But as always, this is Vikings Playbook. Your Sunday starts here. Make sure that you're following us on X and YouTube. On X, it's Vikings Playbook, and same thing for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. But if you're following us on YouTube, or if you haven't yet, please go to Vikes Playbook on YouTube. So you can search that. And make sure that you subscribe and set your alerts. That way you're not missing any of our podcasts. One thing I do want to mention is coming up, and I actually believe we will be doing it next. Let me just look here. Yes, I am looking at doing it most likely, I believe, on the 4th, on Saturday, April 4th, for our next show. My plan is to go ahead and do a mock draft from you guys, the fans and followers. So if you're interested in that, please make sure that you DM me, send me a message, let me know that you're interested in coming on and doing some live mock drafts. Because really what I want to see is what you guys, the fans, the followers, what you think, because we're getting closer and closer. We're within a month of the NFL draft here. So we gotta kind of nail down who some of these guys are, as far as who we like, who are our favorites, who do you think the Vikings will target, and I want to see who you guys really want. And I appreciate you guys jumping on. I see Bob Swede, appreciate it. Raymond Hoagland, Skull State of Mind, D Woods, thanks for jumping on, and Skull Mafia, appreciate it, guys. As always, as you guys are in the chat, if you guys have questions or comments for myself or Rap once he joins us today, make sure that you put it in the comments. We'll try to answer it best we can. And actually, as we're waiting for Rap, if you guys have any comments or questions that you guys want to go ahead and ask now, we'll go ahead and bring those up and talk about them best we can. One of the things I want to cover, hey, what's going on right now? Some of the things that we had pop up today is I saw this story, and Kevin Seifert had kind of mentioned it as well, is right now NFL referees, they're having labor talks right now, and they're not going well. So right now that collective bargaining agreement expires May 31st, and there's definitely some concerns, and there's even talk of possible replacement referees coming into this season. So there's some crazy stuff going on. You know, right now NFL officials are not full-time employees of the league. They're not. So right now, according to sources, the average NFL official last season earned about $350,000 annually. Wow. Where do I sign up for that? Yeah, so it's not like they're making bad compensation or anything like that. But I think that they're wanting to be full-time employees. Um, so I think that's part of it in the agreement. I'm sure it has to do with, okay, we were part-time, we were getting paid $350,000. How much can we get paid now if you're going to make us full-time? So league's trying to improve the officiating performances. We saw some of the comments that Adam Thielen made about some of the, maybe some of the calls and maybe some of the refs, wanting to look good on TV. That way they can brag to their friends. Some of the comments that Adam Thielen made just this last season. And, so those are some of the things that, there could be a work stoppage, and if a deal's not reached, it could be an issue. I do expect a deal to be reached before the season. But, it is very possible that something happens to where we don't see any refs, uh, kind of, uh, come to a deal to where we do see replacement refs. So that'd be kind of crazy to see. D Woods, hey, D Woods, I hope you're back from vacation. And if you are and you want to come on and chat for a little bit, I can send you a link, bud. And if you want to jump on for a little bit, you definitely can. because I'm waiting for Rap to jump on, and I'd love to have you on for a little while here too. So if you're up for it, I'm going to go ahead and send you a link and go ahead and jump on for a little bit if you want. Barbara Fade up. Appreciate you in the house. Again, if you guys missed it, we're going to have a full mock draft from you guys, the fans, followers that are in the comments. So if you're interested in that, like I said before, make sure that you DM me. You can DM me either at Vikings Playbook on X, or you can DM me at Steve Hoikkala on X, and I'll go ahead and try to put you in that queue. Make sure that you have a good mic and camera, so you can come onto the show and do some mock drafts with us, and I kind of want to see who we can have for the different mock drafts and kind of put them out there after the show, put them out there for a vote, and kind of see what the rest of the fans and followers thought of your mock drafts. Skull State of Mind, D Woods is saying NFL needs full-time officials with farm systems. Can't disagree with that. I mean, having better officiating in the game is definitely something that needs to happen. And, whether it be, you know, what they're doing with the UFL right now, maybe that is their farm system. That could be either that or bringing up, guys from the college game. Now, rules are a little bit different, but yeah, some kind of farm system. I can agree with that. Absolutely. And if you're not already, go check out Skull State of Mind. A good friend of mine, D Woods, he does an awesome podcast over there too. So if you haven't checked him out, make sure that you do that as well on YouTube and X also. But yeah, I mean that's some of the crazy stuff right now. Um, we'll see what happens with the work stoppage and if they can come to a deal. But yeah, so it's going to be a crazy thing to see if they can find some kind of solution for that. One of the things I do want to go ahead and bring up is one of the topics that you guys might have seen, and I think I can maybe do it like this. You guys might have seen that Minnesota put in a bid to host the 2028 NFL draft. All right, so the 2028 NFL draft would be awesome. Now, in Minnesota, late April, the weather's not really all that bad. Up here we did recently just have a 77 degree day. So that's not terrible up in Minnesota, up in the Midwest. But, we saw it. We saw it before with the Super Bowl. Yeah, if we have cold weather up here, that's maybe going to hinder some of the outdoor stuff. But we put in a bid to host the 2028 NFL draft. I think that would be lit. Just think of how many Vikings fans would attend and just draped in purple for the draft. And hopefully that's a year where we have just loaded up on draft picks and hopefully have some good picks for it to get excited about. But I think that would be just a crazy event to have that many Vikings fans and I know other NFL fans come in there to represent their teams and stuff like that, but that would be crazy to have that in our backyard and really kind of be the focal point for the NFL draft. I love the draft. I know many of you guys do too. I think that would be great. So one of the things that they talked about with the draft was, I think I have the quote in here somewhere, but Alec Lewis had said that the Minnesota Sports Commission, basically what they're going to try to doing is every year they're going to try putting in a bid until they get it, hopefully here in Minnesota. So hopefully at one point or another, we end up getting the NFL draft. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if Minnesota is able to secure it for 2028. But if not, they're going to look to keep securing it. So that's awesome. So my mom's even watching. I appreciate that. So thanks, Mom. Appreciate you checking in. And then Vikes Now. Brev, how's it going? Appreciate it. And Norsefius is in the building too. Appreciate that too. And guys, we are getting closer to the NFL draft. Okay. So I know 2028 sounds good, but 2026 draft is coming up closer and closer. And again, we need to get our mock drafts in and we need to get really just some of these guys that we're looking at to see who we're interested in. And here's just a list of some of the guys that we've been looking at here lately. So Georgia State wide receiver Ted Hurst is one of the guys that we visited with. So this is just a list of what players the Vikings have met with so far. You know, so obviously they have interest in all these guys that they're looking at. Washington running back Jonah Coleman. Both Jonah Coleman and Ted Hurst, they're probably projecting around that third round. Anthony Hill Jr., he's probably still in that, third round category, second, third round. Oscar Delp, you can probably find Oscar Delp possibly a little bit later than the third round, maybe in the fourth or fifth round, even possibly. But, it always, as it gets closer to the draft, people shift on these boards as well, too. Wisconsin tight end Lance Mason, and then Wake Forest running back Damon Claiborne. So these are all players that the Vikings have shown a little bit of interest. We heard players like Anthony Williams out of Clemson, the wide receiver, that they met with during the combine. So, I mean, it's not like this is the only list of players that they're interested for, but these are the ones that they've at least met with, and that we know that there's at least significant questions and maybe just more in-depth looks at players. Now, we also saw, I believe, they have an upcoming one with Emmett Johnson, the running back out in Nebraska. So that could be another one that's coming up. I know he's been on a lot of people's mock drafts as well, too, recently. So he did kind of recover himself to where I think he had a 4.4. It was like a mid fours, I want to say, as far as his 40 time at his Nebraska Pro Day. So he kind of recovered some of his stock. So it's possible that he jumps up a little bit more. He was kind of falling back to where he was like a late third round pick. And who knows, maybe he shifts closer to like a mid early round third round. But that's another player that we're interested in. He's homegrown here in the state of Minnesota. He wanted to play for Minnesota, and just sounds like we were really interested in the time. So that's just another player that we're going to have to look out for to see if we can land him at some point in the future. Barber Fade Up. Let me just bring up this comment. Let me get rid of this here real quick. But Barber Fade Up says, I read that the Vikings DB coach had dinner tonight with Stooks. I did see that as well, too. And for Stooks, he's a corner out of Arizona, I believe. For some reason, I want to say safety, but I believe he's a corner for Stooks out of Arizona. I haven't looked at a bunch of film on him, but I think recently he just ran like a 4.33 40 at his pro day. So really fast guy out there as well. Vikes now. Brev is on, says Styles is a stud, Styles. So, and I don't know if you're trying to say Stooks maybe instead, but yeah, Sonny Styles is a stud. But he's probably going to be out of our reach at 18, being that he's probably going in the top 10. Yeah, Brev, I think you're talking about Stooks. Yeah, he can play safety, slot, boundary. Yeah. He met Stooks. Absolutely. But, for Stooks, he could be available as well, too. He might have improved his stock, but I think I've seen Stooks a little bit later. And he could be in that second, third round. Now that he's had a really good pro day with a good 40, you see stuff like this happen to where people start to have these sit down interviews with individuals, and they start shooting up the board. So the Vikings are interested there too. But we could take a look at all the different individuals that they're interested in. But I'm really trying to wait for some of this until Rap gets in. I don't want to use all of these different topics here yet. But what other questions do you guys have before Rap joins on here? Go ahead and throw them in the comments. What do you guys want to talk about? Or what players are you guys interested in? Brev, I know you have some guys that you absolutely love. Norris, who do you guys like to see? Who are you guys interested in this NFL draft? Looking for you guys in the comments. I know we've been looking at Jeremiah Love lately. I've seen some mock drafts. I know Thor just did one here recently where he had some trades for Jeremiah Love, and some other individuals are, you know, thinking, hey, it's a possibility that the Vikings could trade up to get like a Jeremiah Love. I mean, there's just a lot that we would have to give up. And then at the same time, you have to find a team that's willing to give up that top spot that really wants to fall that far back, back to 18 in order, yes, we'd probably have to give our first, our second, and maybe even a third to jump that far up. It's a lot to give up. Brev says Avion Terrell. He's a cornerback out of Clemson. Stay away from. I haven't. I agree with you, Brev. I haven't really been big on Avion Terrell. If we did take him, I'd like him to be somebody that we ended up trading back for. And I know, Brev, like you love Malachi Fields. Be your Valentine, right? Malachi Fields. The only thing I worry about with Malachi is just like, is he gonna be a little bit more of a slower type wide receiver out there? Does he? He runs a little bit slower, and that's okay. But is he gonna be able to be that good route runner? Because when you're not blazing fast, you got to have some good route running skills to be able to find openings, especially here in the NFL for sure. Barber Fade Up says he likes Dylan. Eli H. Okay. For Dylan Thieneman, yeah, so there's been some stuff on Dylan Thieneman. I don't know what you guys think on that either, but Tyler Fornes had kind of mentioned some of the reasons why he's not high on Dylan Thieneman. He thought he's not as quick on turning his hips and has the propensity of getting burnt by that. So at least that's one opinion on Dylan Thieneman. I know he's been mocked to the Vikings on several mock drafts, but we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll just have to see. But Dylan Thieneman's been ranked and mocked to the Vikings by a lot of experts out there as well too. Norris Fias, one of the guys he likes is Peter Woods out of Clemson. I've changed. He says Peter Woods. I've changed my mind. There's plenty of safeties out there. So I think Norris Fias, what he's trying to say is he really likes Peter Woods early, because if you're going to take Peter Woods, we probably got to take him at 18 or trade back and then pick up Peter Woods. His average draft position is somewhere around that 30 mark. We could possibly trade back, pick up another early round pick, and get another good player that's maybe starting soon for this team. But Peter Woods, he's really kind of climbed up there as a defensive tackle, inside defensive lineman that might be a really good guy for us, especially when we've lost Jalen Hargrave and Javon Hargrave, and Jonathan Allen. So we have a little bit of a hole to fill there too. Rap, I think I might see you trying to get on. I don't see your camera working. So once I see your camera working and everything's good, I'll bring you on, bud. Norris, yeah, I'll just say that I'm with you on Peter Woods. I really like him out there for sure. Eli Heidenreich, yes, Barber Fade Up did mention him as well too. Eli H. Eli Heidenreich is probably my top fullback out there out of Navy. You can get him a little bit later, probably in the 6th round. You might have to take him earlier in the 6th round. But with CJ Ham retiring, that's definitely a guy that I would like to see the Vikings end up with for sure. Brev says, I also want to stay away from Dylan Thieneman. Uh, Brev, why would you say, and I'm just looking for your opinion. Is it similar to Tyler Fornes's or having read Tyler's breakdown? Oh, I see that. People are glazing Thieneman for his combine because he ran that like a 4.3 type combine 40 run. But Brev says he can't play deep safety whatsoever. He's a rover, and we already have one. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Barbara says I have so many I want to draft. Yep. Raymond Hoagland also says he likes Peter Woods for sure. Price. Yes. So it's Jadarian Price. So if we're wanting Jadarian Price, it now looks like the stock of Jadarian Price as a running back out of Notre Dame, and he sat behind Jeremiah Love, but he was that impressive in the attempts that he did get. And I know you're a Jadarian Price fan as well. But Jadarian Price, I like him. I would prefer to get him. I just, it's a weird spot where picking at 49, if you want Price, you probably got to take him at 49 because he's not going to make it to pick 82. I don't think he'll slide that far. So I think he'll be gone. Or if you like Mike Washington, and he was another breakout candidate at the combine. But if you're wanting somebody like a Mike Washington out of Arkansas, or if you're wanting Jadarian Price out of Notre Dame, and we want a young running back to come in here because we don't have our guys currently on contract, Jordan Mason, and then also, we brought back Aaron. We don't have Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason for next season. They're going to be free agents. So, and we just saw that we got rid of our RB3 that's now down with the Saints. So Chandler's gone. Okay, so what are we going to do at the running back position? We have to bring in some new blood, so I think that there's a possibility we bring back Mason after this season, but we're for sure getting a running back out of this class. I would be shocked if we did not. So Jadarian Price, absolutely, he's got to be in there. He's just at that weird spot where I would love us to still take a top, defensive guy at 49 and be able to slide down to 82. And, if you got lucky and you could get a really good running back at that position, I think that would be ideal. But yeah, if your guy's Jadarian Price, you probably got to take him at 49, I think. Bob Sweet says, I want Tristan Jackson back. Yeah, we'll see what happens there too, I don't know if he's on a contract right now either. Bikes Now Brev says, I'm a huge KC Conception fan. He's my wide receiver 3 in this class, borderline wide receiver 2. So you like him, Brev, but let's just say that he's not available, at pick 49. And he probably isn't. He's gone by that time. Are you in favor, Brev, of trading back far enough to still get KC Conception? Because I don't think he's there at 49. Okay, Emmanuel. We've seen Emmanuel on there too. He's a box safety out of Toledo, EMW. He says he is a box safety. Don't need him either. Okay, well, EMW has been another one that's really been mocked to us as well too. So, EMW, Brev says, can actually play deep, unlike Thieneman. Okay. Norsefield says Eli Heidenreich is not a guy to try to make a fullback. He's a Christian McCaffrey light. Man, people didn't give CJ Ham enough credit, especially in his prime in his younger days. He could really run the ball, and having a guy that's multifaceted out there and kind of a secret weapon, I'm not opposed to it. is bringing him in. I would love to see another person out there that's not just a blocker, but he can also possibly run the ball, fool the defense, and maybe even, uh, you know, slip out and be a ball catcher out there. AJ Halsey, safety out of LSU. He's probably a second round guy that we'd be looking at as well too. I really like AJ Halsey out of LSU for sure. And that's kind of what I'm saying at 49, depending on who we take with that first pick. Let's just say it's like a Peter Woods. We feel that inside defensive line need that we have. And yes, that is one of our deeper positions, but maybe we need another really good starting inside guy in there, to anchor that inside piece. So let's just say he's that guy. In round 2, I'd like us to fill that need. We don't know if Harrison's coming back. Even if he does come back, he's getting older. That'd be his last season. We don't know what's going to happen here down the road. Let's pick up another real good safety. AJ Halsey could be sitting right there for us. So I'd like to see us go defense, possibly at 49. I wouldn't be mad if we ended up getting Price, though. Brev says Eli is a Swiss Army knife. Okay, Brev likes Halsey over Dillon as far as safeties go. Northfield loves Price. Yeah. I agree, Brev. Jadarian Price, I could see him around that top 45 as well too. The problem that we have is we pick at 49 and then our next pick is at 82. So if you don't take him at 49, he ain't going to be there at 82. So especially if we think he may be in that top 45, he's definitely not lasting to 82. Yeah. Price will cut you 3 times before you feel it. And I think he's a real good change of pace back that would fit nice with Jordan Mason going forward as well, for sure. And Brev agrees. He's absolutely gone at 49, talking about Price. And D Woods, Goal State of Mind, says, I take Price in the second and Nick Singleton in the later round if possible. So we don't have a 5th round pick we don't have a 4th round pick. Do we not have? I'm trying to think now. We don't have a 4th right now. So trying to pick Nick Singleton, he's in that weird area unless we end up trading back or we take him early in that late 3rd round. I just don't see us taking Price second unless somehow Nick Singleton slides back farther, because we have a real big gap after we pick at 97. I think our next pick after that is like 161 off the top of my head. So that's, it's just a weird thing. Casey Conception, Brev thinks it might go in the top 21. That'd be crazy if so, for sure. Rap, if you can hear me, I just don't see your video popping up. Oh, now I see your video. So just let me know when you're good to go. Give me a thumbs up and I'll go ahead and pull you on screen. So Rap's almost ready to join us here. As soon as he's ready to go, we'll get going with our guest. Barbara Fade Up says, I got a good feeling about this draft. I do too. It's a different mindset. And yes, KOC, and I really think Brian Flores are both going to have a lot of influence in this draft. And when we take a look at just the amount of picks that we have, last year we only had 5, and it wasn't enough. We got quite a few picks going into this draft to where hopefully we can get a little bit younger, and hopefully we can have some more of these picks pan out with us to help be impact players on this team. We can't miss, especially in these early round picks. So we have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, and man, we got to hit. We got to hit on 2 or 3 of these guys. All right. I know you're not going to hit 100% in the draft, but man, do we really need to hit on some of these, right? So Northfield says, I can't see Nick Singleton. Reminds me of Ty Chandler. All speed, no vision. Okay. Casey Conception, Omar Cooper, both guys. that you like that could sneak in the top 25? I like them both over Tyson Boston. Hey, Rap, if you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up once you're ready, brother. You're good? All right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and bring on Rap. So now, if you guys haven't already, if you don't know him, Rap from the Purple Pocket Pod, Vocal Vike, as you know him, Rap my guy. Go ahead and follow him on X, Vocal Vike, and on YouTube, Vocal Vike. Go check out his podcast. He's doing podcasts, multiple times during the week, and he puts out some good content. So, with no further ado, I'm going to welcome on my brother onto the stage. Hey, how we doing?
I'm good, man. How are you? Appreciate you having me on, my brother.
Yeah, nah, it's been good. It's been good. So, now that I got you on, and we've kind of talked a little bit about some of the guys that we like in the draft, and
Yeah.
so we're kind of mixing around a little bit topic wise. So, but I did talk a little bit about the fact that the Minnesota Vikings are looking to possibly host the draft in 2028. I think
Mhm.
that's exciting for the fact that Vikings fans that really want to show up in full force, because sometimes at the draft you see like this, little pocket of Vikings. It would be awesome to see just this army of purple
Yeah.
flooding the NFL draft, and hopefully we got, some good picks that are, hopefully in good positions where we don't trade out of the first round. And I
Yeah.
can't see us doing that when we're hosting the draft, but I would like to see that. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah,
What are your
no,
thoughts?
yeah, if when I seen that news yesterday, I was excited. Or I think was it yesterday or the day before? I was super excited because one thing's for sure. There's only usually I only go to Minnesota for the home opener for Skull Fest, the event we throw. But if the draft is being held there, I'm gonna have to make 2 visits,
Right?
So I'm definitely gonna be there. Gotta be there.
Absolutely. D Woods is happy to see you too. We got
Shout out, shout out D
we got
Wood.
Barber, we got Norris in the house, Bob Sweet,
My guys,
Brev's
man.
in the
Norris,
house.
Rev. Okay, let's go,
Yeah,
Mister. I
so
want to mock. We in the crib.
we definitely got some of the boys in the house, and that's awesome to
Let's
see.
go.
Appreciate you guys joining us for sure. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about then is if we are going to talk about possibly hosting the draft. And it was cold last time, but it was still, I think, still a good event. But should Minnesota try to host another Super Bowl? Do we try to do that again?
I mean, I think the infrastructure is perfect, man. Yeah, I would say yeah. Go for it. I mean, the weather obviously is a factor because I guess
Mm-hmm.
it could be you could have what 10, 15 inches of snow or 4 feet of snow there in that city at any moment, especially in January or early February. So, but again, I think the city is built for a Super Bowl. I mean, there's a ton of space. There's a lot of things to do. It's fun. I mean, I would say go for it. Absolutely, man. I think they should. Yeah,
I don't
for sure.
know.
I'm gonna say yeah, Steve. Come on, man. I'm a Vikings fan.
I
Absolutely, and we
I
need to be
think
playing in it.
and I think all that stuff would be cool, and just there's some added drive when
Yeah,
your stadium's going to be hosting the Super Bowl. You want to be there. Last time we were hosting it, obviously we got close.
yeah.
Didn't quite get the job done. Philly.
Almost.
That was the Philly year.
It
But
felt right, didn't it,
it
Steve? Like, it
did.
just felt like that was the year, bro.
It did, and
It felt
And
like
I
it.
think everybody thought, could this really happen to where we could go to the Super Bowl, have a chance to win it right here in our home state? So,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
it wasn't meant to be. But, I
Sucks.
would like to see it again just because, not too many opportunities you have when you have a new stadium. It's still newish,
Mhm,
US Bank,
mhm,
to where I think you don't have very many opportunities left to try to host one,
mhm,
uh, because all these different stadiums now across I think there's like 4 or 5 now that are looking to have brand new stadiums, these
mhm.
different sites. So those are all going to be competitors,
Yeah.
whether that be the draft or whether that be the Super Bowl down the road, combine even.
I think they should start moving the combine. I know they were talking about that as well, maybe doing
Hmm.
the combine in different cities now too, instead of just in Indianapolis. I mean, I think that would be great. I wonder. I know there was something about the logistics of it being somewhere towards the middle, I guess, is what they say of a lot of teams. But like to me, it's like, man, You should there should be no reason why people can't jump on planes to go to any NFL city for the NFL Combine. What's the difference? I feel like they should start spreading that around too every year, having it somewhere different, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, Indianapolis has a stronghold. I know that they do a great job hosting the combine. Um, but I don't know why they should have a stranglehold
I
on that
know.
event.
It's weird.
You know, how one team, one stadium
Yeah.
should get to host that every year, let other sites bid on it. I mean, it's indoors anyways,
Yeah.
right? Or an
Right.
indoor stadium.
So maybe just the indoor stadiums in the
Yeah,
NFL are able.
sure. Or at least, yeah, because you can't, you don't want to go somewhere where you're going to have issues with weather and
Right.
everything else to
Right.
where now it's delayed or whatever. But yeah, absolutely. Brad brings up, yeah, U.S. Bank going into year 10 already.
Which is crazy to think about. 10
Absolutely. So
years.
you start
Holy.
thinking about it, in another 10 years, are we thinking that US Bank Stadium is somewhat outdated? I don't know. But, at least right now, you're still kind of like in your prime to where everyone loves what the stadium is and they
Yeah.
did a good job on it. You know,
Yeah.
try to bring those type of events here while you can, because that was part of the pitch.
Yeah.
That was part of the pitch for building that stadium and what they did for the taxpayers in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're trying to go for that kind of stuff.
And you've been
yeah,
there, right? You've been
oh
in
yeah,
US Bank multiple
absolutely,
times, right? So
absolutely. It's
I
it's
say that to
beautiful.
say, like, it's beautiful, and I think when they built that, going into it, I feel like they were years ahead of the game as far as making sure that it would stay modern for 20
hmm
years. You know, like, I mean, it's such a beautiful stadium, and the technology in the stadium too. Every inch of it, man. I mean, I feel like even 10 more years from now, we're still sitting up there, you
And,
know.
and Brett brings up the bank's already a third of the lifespan of the Metrodome before the roof collapsed. That's
Yeah.
crazy to think
Yeah.
about too. So it's already that far. And Bob
Yeah.
Sweet brings up a good point. Like, and it's interesting. So Buffalo's building a new stadium, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I'm surprised. Like, I've seen what it's going to look like, and I get it. So a lot of people want to take shots at indoor stadiums. It's like football should be played outside.
Yeah.
Now, you look at Buffalo, and there's a lot of times in those games, like, they have to, like, we got a game this Sunday, but we just had a big snowstorm. We need everybody to come shovel, and you have, like, kind of those stories, but, like,
Yeah.
is that, and I don't know because I haven't been to Buffalo. I haven't been in one of those games, but is that enjoyable?
I think to me, like, I would think that the community probably enjoys it. Like, you probably have your fans that look forward
Sure.
to being able to go to the stadium, and it's part of the
Yeah.
process. And if I was somebody who was born and raised in Buffalo, the cold
hmm
doesn't bother those people, man. That's in their blood. Like, they probably look forward to that. So I would and I'm one of those people too, Steve, where I feel like there still should be outdoor stadiums too. Like, I don't want every stadium to be indoor because weather is part of football. Like, I mean, there's certain cities, like, I would say, like Buffalo, maybe, and maybe Minneapolis as well, where sometimes the snow can just be crazy, and it can get to a point where games may possibly have to get delayed, which would become an issue if that was happening more times than none. But, I would love for the Vikings to have an outdoor stadium from a standpoint of me not having to be there, because I hate the
hmm
cold, but like watching it saying, hey, we're the Minnesota Vikings. Like when you're the Miami Dolphins, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Dallas Cowboys, and you guys got to come up here and play in this weather, we gonna kick y'all ass up and down the field. Y'all gonna be shivering, but we out there like real deal Vikings, kicking y'all ass. You know what I mean? So I actually like the idea, but I'm also not opposed. I just don't want the league to turn into arena football, because that's pretty
Sure.
much what it'd be if every stadium's indoors. But obviously that's the direction all the new architects are going. So it seems like
Yeah,
it's gonna be
it's
that before long.
it's just hard to host one of those events if
Yeah.
you're in Buffalo because you have like a week of all this outdoor stuff.
And it's deeper
To
than football too, Steve. It's not more just
Yeah,
about the football game because in the off season they rent them out, they do concerts and stuff, so that all plays a part too.
yeah. Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see what happens. Their stadium's going to be outdoors, so we'll see if they end up getting a bid for that. I mean, usually that's part of the deal that's almost made with
Yep.
the NFL, but the week leading up to and all the activities for all the people that are coming to what happens if they get hit with a snowstorm and that wipes out, because they're counting on a lot of money and revenue to be brought in, not just the NFL, but the
Mhm.
city and the
Mhm.
money that the state and the city is putting into an event like that. So if you don't have that income, we'll see what happens. Now, Rap, I've seen you made a comment on this
Yeah.
just a day ago.
Yeah.
Now, and we've heard more like, Pelissero thinks, hey, there's going to be a competition.
Mhm.
You made the comment. I don't want to quote you perfectly, but you had said that, let's be real, there's going to be a competition, but there's not really going to be a competition.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. But you want to talk
Mhm.
more on what you were trying to portray there?
Yeah. So pretty much I said, let's be clear. There is no QB competition in Minnesota, but JJ McCarthy will compete, but there's a difference there.
Hmm.
He's gonna compete. JJ McCarthy's a dog, man. He ain't gonna lay down. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
the past couple weeks, I've been going super hard on the Kyler Murray thing and jumping on that board just because the Vikings fan in me, I feel like it's the right thing. So I just feel good about it. Something about it just seems right. That's not the takeaway from JJ McCarthy. I just think our team got better by adding a Kyler Murray. But with that being said, with the competition, I just don't see it. Just doesn't seem right. It's almost like if we would have went and got Joe Burrow, and then we're sitting back as Vikings fans saying, "Yeah, they're going to compete for the starting job." It almost feels like Kyler Murray he's that caliber of quarterback, in my opinion. This is my opinion, and a lot of the consensus opinion too, even the big name networks, that Kyler Murray's already to that level of quarterback where you don't bring him in to be to be competing for a starting job. It's like it's his job to lose. So,
Hmm.
like, yes, if he gets injured, okay, JJ's coming in. But at the end of the day, man, from OTAs moving forward, Kyler Murray will be running with the ones, man. I think that's pretty clear in my opinion. And I would love to see a dogfight out there with JJ. And I think he's going to compete. I think JJ's going to compete. I just think Kevin O'Connell isn't about to sell us on the oh no, they're competing to see who's going to be QB1 week 1. I think that answer is already there, and that is Kyler Murray.
I think so too. I have a hard time believing that Kyler Murray ends up coming here uh, with the idea that he's not going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Yes, he might be, putting on the show that there's going to be a quarterback competition, and if there really is one, uh, you know, he's expecting to win that.
Mhm.
That's the full expectation from him.
Mhm.
Now, when we take a look at, JJ McCarthy, he's doing everything he should be doing.
Mhm.
He's not going to take a vacation or anything like that. He's out in California, uh, and actually he's back now. I had heard he's back in the
Yeah.
facility, but he
Yeah,
was
he's
out in
back.
California. He was working with the quarterback coach,
Yeah.
John Beck, and he's trying to really focus on mechanics, his consistency, accuracy, all that.
Yeah.
Better touch on his throws. So
Mhm.
he's trying to do whatever he can to make sure that when he comes into camp, he's showing a step higher of, hey, look, I'm developing, I'm growing,
Mhm.
I can be the guy. So
Mhm.
I think he knows that, hey, there's a good chance that Kyler Murray's starting no matter what type of display he shows
Mhm.
in camp. But if he can at least show that there's growth, or at least on tape, he can show that, hey, it's maybe close
Yeah.
type of thing,
Yeah.
or where he looks good in camp.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings will possibly have a hard decision depending on how Kyler Murray plays.
Yeah.
And we know that Kyler Murray has the propensity of getting hurt as well too.
Mhm.
So I fully expect there to be a moment
Mhm.
of time, whether that's even for a few plays, or who knows, maybe it's at the end of a game where there's an opportunity where JJ McCarthy may get put in the game to actually be able to show a level of growth.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be good, man. I know and we always go through this as a Vikings fan base, man. It seems like the quarterback's always a thing that we've been kind of at odds about sometimes, or whatever the case may be, because the truth of the matter is our organization can't get it right. I mean, that's just what it all boils down to. We just haven't been able to get it right, at least right enough to where all fans are on board. You're always going to have people that are going to talk, just crazy. It don't matter. We could have had prime Tom Brady, and you would have fans the moment he has one bad game would be we can do better, right? But
Sure.
I think I agree with you 100%. Like, I do believe that there is going to be an opportunity for JJ McCarthy to come on the field based off of Kyler Murray's injury history. So I say we have a good problem on our hands. And as a fan, I still want to see if JJ grew too. Like, I'm going to be curious and anxious to see that, at the end of the day. As much as I want Kyler Murray to go out there and play at an MVP level and, make all the doubters be quiet, I would love to see JJ McCarthy come out there, like you said, maybe in a series or in a quarter, and we say, wow, like, look at this kid, boy. This kid he looked like a different player, and then look here. There's a possibility too, Steve, that KOC and Kyler Murray don't click. There's a possibility that their personalities, we learned this with JJ. Okay. It's easy to like somebody and seem like everything's good when you're only meeting with them for an hour and 30 minutes, a couple hours. When you got to live in the same house with them is when we're really going to see. Right. So, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a lot of KOC trying to teach Kyler Murray. There may be things KOC does that Kyler Murray's like, bro, I don't like how he really coaches, man. I want to kind of do my thing. And KOC might sit back and say, damn, like, the kid can play, but he doesn't like to listen to what I got to say. Or, there's any little thing can happen, man, where it can go south. And I say that to say that if JJ comes in and shows growth, Kyler Murray could possibly be leaving at the end of the season. That's what this is all about. He can go play for the Rams and take over for, Matt Stafford after he leaves. So there's going to be other opportunities for Kyler Murray. But again, it's a good problem to have. It's going to be a fun season watching two quarterbacks go head to head. Although I don't believe there's a competition in Minnesota, it's still going to be fun to watch this thing play out, man. So, you're a JJ fan, right, Steve? Like,
I am.
you support, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see the kid succeed, and we just look at how these quarterbacks stack up. He's only had 10 games.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is a lot of room for this kid to grow up, mature, and possibly still be a franchise quarterback, whether it's for us or somebody else.
Absolutely.
There is that chance. So I mean, we just need to see more, but obviously he has to stay healthy. And if we look at how our quarterback room looks with Kyler Murray, Carson Wentz, and JJ McCarthy, we got three individuals that have had problems staying healthy in their career, but we have a lot of experience in both Kyler Murray and Carson Wentz on this team. So, just taking a look at their different stats and, what they have stacked up, you just look at Kyler Murray, and some of the concerns I have with Kyler is, that 2-to-1 ratio as far as touchdowns to interceptions.
Yeah.
Yes, he can rush the ball and put it in the end zone, but he also has a propensity of fumbling the ball.
Yeah.
And that is a concern for me. He has to be able to protect that ball, and hopefully he can, and hopefully with the opportunities that he's given with the Vikings, he's never thrown for 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
All right. So he's never thrown for 4,000 yards in the season. So, what can we expect best and worst case scenarios out of Kyler Murray? And this is just something I threw together. And I think best worst case scenarios for Kyler Murray of what we could expect, best case scenario, maybe he finally breaks, if we stay healthy on the offensive line, maybe we see 4,000 yards. One of his best seasons ever would be this season. Having Justin Jefferson, having Jordan Addison, hopefully TJ is more involved in the offense this year as well too. We'll have to see who our wide receiver 3 is, but having Jones back, that's another receiving threat for him too. And I think Jones and Mason, as long as we're healthy in the offensive line and extending drives, I think our running game will be fine too. But, rushing yards, having 608 touchdowns, I'd take that all day, every day. That would be an amazing season. If he had that best case scenario type season, I think he's at least, a top 10 quarterback with that type of a season. Now, our worst case scenario is obviously he gets hurt, but let's
Yeah.
just say he plays a full season. He's, he averages, he's a 68% passer in his career. So I think a worst case scenario is he's not fitting in well with the offense and it's just not clicking. So his completion percentage is down. He maybe throws for 3,000 yards because even if we're behind in some games, he's able to throw some, but he has trouble with protecting the ball. And he ends up with 21 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, um, you know, a little less on the rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. That's not a good season. And I think with that worst case scenario season, we look to pivot to a JJ. But if he has that best case scenario type season, I think we're trying to lock him up for a long term.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if he has a season like best case scenario there's a possibility we're going for the long haul. I mean, even what's crazy is even in the worst case scenario, I could see conversations even being had too. It just depends. Because what I say is, let's say the worst case scenario plays out, and JJ McCarthy, KOC feels like JJ McCarthy didn't take a step, or he does. JJ McCarthy comes out there, and it seems like he didn't, take that leap forward that he was expecting. These stats on the right hand side with the worst case scenario would still, now the money's going to look different.
Right.
You'll have more leverage as far as negotiation goes. But I could still see them saying, hey, you know what? First year, 21 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Yeah, not the best 3,000 yards, but hey, you know what? Let's continue to build on this and see what we can do even moving forward for a bargain price. You get to stay a Minnesota Viking and you'll be the starter. I would be curious for you to make a graphic, Steve, on JJ McCarthy on best and worst case scenarios here, man. That would have been interesting based off of the evidence we already have on him.
Sure. I just don't think he's going to be a starter. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the only problem with making a graphic like that is just, he's not going to, I don't believe he will be the starting quarterback. And that's the hardest thing. And
Yeah.
I'm not giving up on him.
Right.
I still think that there's something there. And I don't think the team is giving up on him yet. And even if they were interested in trading him, his trade value is not what you wouldn't get anything for him. And he's
Right.
not costing you much to keep him right now. So, that's crappy value that you're getting in return if you did trade him. Let's just say for a 4th round, 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
Now let's just say Kyler Murray gets hurt, or doesn't play well this year.
Mm-hmm.
You always have that in your pocket to pivot back to him and hope that he has grown and had a year to mature and learn. And I think part of bringing Carson Wentz back was that friend on the team that was in the film room with him that can help him grow and mature as well too.
Yeah.
So I think that is still a good thing, to have Carson Wentz there too, is kind of like a level of consistency in that quarterback room.
I feel like the Carson, it's crazy you bring that up, Steve. I feel like the Carson Wentz signing is more important than we think, and I feel like this year's Carson Wentz signing has me more excited than last year's when we signed him. Right, like because it would be easy for us fans to just say, "Why are you bringing Carson Wentz back? Like we saw what we saw. Like you can let him go. We don't expect to see him play." But like when we re-signed him this year, it felt pretty good to like add him to the quarterback room and say, all right, you have Kyler Murray, JJ McCarthy, and Carson Wentz. You have Carson Wentz who played in the offense. He didn't look great, but at the end of the day, you can win some football games with him if need be. Like if you're looking at Carson Wentz as your quarterback 3, we're in a good situation.
Yeah.
I just think it's we're in a great situation. This is the best quarterback room that we've had in a long time. I'll say that.
He had 3 weeks to learn the offense, He got signed, in September. There's not a whole lot of time to pick up that offense. And then, unfortunately, JJ McCarthy got hurt early and he got thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
So you got to see, Carson Wentz, it wasn't terrible until he got hurt.
Right.
But even before that, he was still playing decent, especially getting our receivers involved.
Yeah.
Without, and that was with the offensive line all beat up.
Mm.
And that was not knowing the offense and only being here for a limited amount of time. So he's
Yeah.
got an entire offseason. So I think he will, if he does have to play for some reason, which I hope he doesn't,
Right.
and that means we're staying healthy or, whatever, we're winning games, all that good stuff. I think we would see a much better version of him. Obviously, he would be healthy and know the playbook a lot better. So
Yeah. I think Kevin O'Connell really, really likes Carson Wentz too, in my opinion. I would go as far as saying, out of the 3 quarterbacks that we have between JJ, Kyler, and Carson, I would go as far as to saying Carson Wentz is probably Kevin O'Connell's favorite of all 3. I mean, his skills aren't as good, obviously, as Kyler Murray. We could probably agree to that. JJ, I mean, that's up in the air still because JJ's young, but you would think that JJ is going to be a better quarterback than Carson. But when it comes down to working with the quarterback, I'm sure KOC really enjoys sitting in a quarterback classroom with Carson Wentz, and talking football. To me, it just seems like that's his type of guy.
And I know you saw it because he took a lot of heat for it. And I know we both like Ben Lieber,
Yeah.
so Ben Lieber made that comment of, hey, quarterback depth chart right now. And he put Carson Wentz at number 1 over Kyler Murray and JJ.
Yeah.
And I see where he's coming from. Obviously, that stoked a lot of hate because, hey, obviously, at least on paper, people are thinking, and I'm expecting as well too, Kyler Murray to be the starter,
Right.
and probably Carson Wentz number 3 on that depth chart. But I see where he's coming from as far as being a veteran quarterback that has been in the offense longer and been in the system longer than Kyler Murray. And basically what Ben's point is Carson Wentz is farther along and has at least more chemistry and knows the playbook better than Kyler Murray does at this point. So I think that's what he was trying to make. But yes, I think we're all on that. Bob Swede says I'm a Kyler stan until further notice.
Yeah.
Norris Vias on the other side says he's team 9 until he gets a fair shot and proves he can't.
I always say, like, Norris Vias is gonna walk through the smoke, bro. He's gonna be the last one walking through the smoke when JJ McCarthy finally figures it out. You know what I mean? Like, for sure, he'll be walking through the smoke. I believe in JJ McCarthy, man. I really do. Again, I think all of my Kyler hype has just come from the fact of I'm a fan of Kyler. I think that's where it comes from. Is I'm truly a fan of Kyler Murray even when he was an Arizona Cardinal. Like, I've always, like, back when I first started YouTube in 22 and I would do the going into the season, me and Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk, we would do like our top 10 quarterbacks going into the season 2022, 2023, and Kyler always made my list because I just always felt like Kyler has the ability to be a superstar. Like, I think he's right under that threshold. He just has to get put in the right situation. There's no better time than now. You got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. If we can get this run game started, I mean, Kyler Murray can have this offense humming, man. I'm telling you, I'm a firm believer in that. That doesn't mean that I automatically stop believing in JJ McCarthy. I just think they're on 2 different levels in 2026. And for me, I want to win, as a fan, man. I'm ready, us doing content, Steve. I want to celebrate more than I'm on here ranting and pissed off. I want to be able to talk some shit. So I think Kyler gives me the best opportunity to do that. That's why I'm on that train. And JJ's young. He has time on his side. I mean, you got to think about it. Kyler Murray is what, 6 years older? Kyler Murray's 29, I believe. 29, like
28. I think he's gonna be 29 during the season.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, JJ has time. He has plenty of time, man. What's wrong with having what's wrong with having a little year, man? We're not giving up on him. At least me, as fans, we're not. I mean, some people can make the argument that KOC has failed them and given up on him, but
sure. I would say we're pretty split. We're like half and half as a fan base. If X or Twitter is your barometer,
for sure.
It's like a 50-50 split in there. All right. So next topic. This is kind of a big one. So, still hanging out there is the Jonathan Greenard. Do we sign him? Do we trade him? Well,
Oh,
now it comes out that he's looking at trying to get, a baseline of Jalen Phillips got his deal was like 4 years for 120 million. So
mhm.
that $30 million a year average is what at least Greenard's agent is saying Phillips's contract is what they want to use as a baseline.
Yeah.
And so right now, currently his average is at $19 million. And when we take a look at just like how he stacks up against others in the league, and you know, uh, Alec Lewis made a post on this with this picture, and just looking at the average, and what's not on here is actually AVG. AVG is making more than Jonathan Greenard as well too.
Okay.
So Jonathan Greenard is actually the 21st highest paid average edge in the league.
Okay.
Or AVG is sitting at 15. So, but if you're looking for a $30 million a year, and just because Jalen Phillips got overpaid, because I think he got overpaid,
Yeah.
just because he gets overpaid, and even if you say he's worth it, he's 26. Grenard's 28. So he's a
Yeah.
little bit younger of a guy too. So you're paying for that because you're going to have him for 4 years. Sure. Jonathan Greenard trying to use that as a baseline right now at 28, coming off of a 3-sack season. You only play 12 games because you got injured. Can you really be asking for a pay raise of a 30 million or plus? I find that just ridiculous. You're wanting to get paid, and I get that he's 31, but you're saying that you want to get paid more than Trey Hendrickson right now
Yeah,
on a
no,
new
I'm not. I'm
contract.
not. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with letting him walk then. I'm looking at these stats here, man. I mean, I'm about what have you done for me lately, just like a lot of NFL executives and GMs are. And 3 sacks, unacceptable. Played 12 games. I mean, look, do I like Jonathan
Yeah.
Greenard? Yeah, I like him. But at the end of the day, his best season is 12 and a half sacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's him at his peak is 12 and a half, which is a
Right.
good year, but come on, man. Like you trying to nah, bruh. I'm good on that. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. If it's about the money for you and not about trying to win a championship with the Minnesota Vikings and the purple and gold, because obviously this just seems like it's more about being an opportunist and it's just like, hey, I'm gonna go wherever I get paid. Meaning he will go to the Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets, any team that's in a rebuild, he doesn't
Right.
care. It's more about let me just get my 30, then
I
you
want to
gotta
get
go, bro.
I want to get paid,
Yeah,
and
it's over
I
with.
hate that because I know that guys, you want to take advantage while you can, but you still got 2 years on your deal. Like this just, go ball out this year. You got 2
Yeah,
years left on your current deal.
yeah,
You know, go ball out this year and then ask for a big contract,
right.
because you put it all out on the field. You had double-digit sack year. I love that last year he was top 7 in pressure rate. I
Mhm.
think that's great.
Yeah,
The problem is you didn't finish, and
right.
unfortunately you didn't stay healthy.
Yeah, that
So,
shoulder seems like it's becoming a problem.
so yeah, and if you have that kind of stuff going on, what teams are usually saying, yeah, absolutely pay raise?
Yeah,
Not many. And
not
I think
many.
that's the holdup with, in some of the comments that I saw on one of the posts I made today about Grenard, somebody said, well, you know, if that's the case, then we need to get a first round pick for him. What team's going to give you a first round pick
Yeah.
and they're going to pay him 30 plus million a year?
Mm.
If that was the case, there would already be a trade done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not
But
talking
that's
about a
not the
Miles
case.
Garrett, Max Crosby, we're not Daniil Hunter. We're not talking about that, man. We're talking about a Greenard, a Jonathan Greenard, man. I mean, at the end of the day, to me, he's a B-list player. He's not an A-list rusher. He's a B-list, in my opinion. I don't think he's a superstar. I think he's a star. He may be like
I think he's a star.
semi-star.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
semi-star.
yeah.
I'm not trying to kick the man while he's down. He's a good football player, but I mean, come on, man. You're trying to do a money grab. You're not at that level yet where you can just be out here demanding top notch top-notch money, man, in my opinion. Now, that 30, Steve, that was with that, was that when you were comparing him now, what is the
So 43 million is roughly what
like Crosby and Garrett and them are getting? Myles
um
Garrett, Max Crosby. I was just curious on like what the
I don't know why I'm having a mind blank right now, but in Green Bay,
Michael Parsons.
Michael
Okay.
Parsons is making
Okay.
43 a year.
So
So,
top notch
but
is like in the 40s.
but there's a huge gap
Yeah.
between the first, top 2 rushers, and
Yeah.
then it really drops down. So
Yeah.
to get in the top 10, top 10 money is around that $28 million mark.
Got you. Okay.
So you want to be paid, top 8 money,
Yeah. I'm
and
good.
I would say that you're probably somewhere. Let's just say that you're somewhere in the top 15, in that 10 to 15 range, 12 to 15 range. I
Yeah.
could see that. I could see paying him what we're paying AVG, and he gets a bump of a couple million to stay here. I could see that. But, unfortunately, that's just, I'm not willing to pay that. And I don't think a lot of Vikings fans are on board with that. And obviously the Vikings aren't.
Yeah, no, they're not on board with that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. I mean, and especially when you have Dallas Turner in the background, and I'm sure the Vikings are sitting back saying, "Hey, you can act this way if you want, man. We have Dallas Turner. We're not in no panic. It's not like if you leave, we feel like we're up Shit's Creek. Like we have a guy, that can step right in."
Yeah, Northfield says AVG can not only rush, but he can cover. And
Exactly.
I agree with that. So here's a question too, and this could be something where AVG is looking at a possible extension here coming up too. But AVG is going to be 31 years old going into this season. So he's definitely getting older. Yeah. I would love to keep Greenard just because, out of those two players, who's going to, right now, Grenard's in his prime. Mm-hmm. He's going to be able to stay here longer. I would love, because there is a possibility where we say, hey, AVG, you're getting older, we're looking to move on. That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
He had some injury issues last year, so that's a possibility. I don't think the team was looking to get rid of Greenard in a trade until this whole pay raise thing came up, just because they're in a salary cap bind. Not that they didn't think that he deserved a pay raise, but you asked it after a 3-sack season, and you got injured and you played only 12 games. And I don't think anyone saw, him asking for a pay raise. So I think that's just the problem with that one. Moving on to our...
Like, even you look at Andrew Van Ginkel. Mm-hmm. I mean, Andrew Van Ginkel had 7 sacks last season. With the same amount of games.
He did, but he really didn't play the same amount of games. Because if you remember the games that they're counting that he played,
yeah,
he had at least 3 games, if not more than that, where he came in and only played 9 plays. He was on a snap count, and then it was just like he can't do it, and then he was out the next game.
Yeah,
true. We kept trying to bring him back to where he could play a few snaps, and then we had to take him out again.
Yeah.
So he really didn't even play that many games, but he's such a force out there when he is healthy.
Yeah, he is.
Especially in the screen game, as we know, a Gink 6 that we're all looking for.
The Ginky, yeah, man. I love Gink. I say keep, yeah. I mean, if you got to choose, I would say Andrew Van Ginkel, in my opinion, just ride him out. Let him retire a Minnesota Viking, finish it off. Why not?
That'd be cool. I think he's really found a home here. I have a question for you. So you've been doing kind of like your little tournament on mock drafts.
Yeah, the mock madness. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you still going through teams and stuff?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah, man. So we've only done 3 teams so far. We got at least 3 more that we have to do. So yeah, man, it's fun too. Have you seen the first 3 mocks, or at least one of them?
I've seen at least one of them. I was gonna try to get in on one. It's just hard to do sometimes with kids at night, and I really have to kind of plan and work with my my better half to make sure that we're covered down.
Yeah.
But when we start talking about, because you've seen a few of these drafts now
Yeah.
where you have, so if you guys haven't seen the format, what Rap does is he has two individuals that are paired up to
Mhm.
do these mock drafts. So, they're talking together and basically, if you want to explain the rest of it, basically you're trying to see who has the best draft after
Yeah.
everything's said and done, voted on, right?
Right. So it's voted on by the fans, pretty much just ran by the fans. So they, again, like Steve said, teams of their pairs, and you do your mock draft, and then I put it on the community tab. And usually I was saying, I always throw this out there because I think this is significant to this. Is last year there were at least between 1,100 and 1,400 votes, like per mock set that I put out on the community tab. So there's a lot of, I say that to say, that's a good amount of Vikings fans voting on this. So like when you win, I mean, you got a lot of people that are really liking what you're doing as far as the mocks
Sure.
go. So it's fun, it's competitive. You get to talk your smack. And the main thing too is like Norsphere's created for the winner. I mean, the plaque is like a handmade plaque that he made for, it was Skull Mafia and Papa Gary that won last year. And I mean, that too just makes it fun. And it brings us together. It gives us something to do. But,
Yeah.
Mock Madness, obviously, March Madness. It's fun. I love it. I have a fun time. I try to stay out of it now when I do have the team on with me. Because I remember last year I would say things like, oh, no, I really like that player, or I
Yeah.
really this, that, and the
You
third.
don't
And
want to show
now,
favoritism. Yeah.
right now, I'm trying to just be quiet, let the team communicate within themselves and make the pick. I'm like, tell me what I
And
need
if
to
you
do.
don't, Norse is going to let you know.
Right,
Norse?
exactly. Yeah, Norse would definitely let me know for sure.
So you've seen all kinds of different names on here. Now coming up here soon, actually next week, not taking anything away with what you're doing, but I plan on bringing on some fans, doing some mock drafts.
Let's go.
Putting them out there on X and just, hey, these are some of the mock drafts that some of the fans did.
Absolutely.
Which one's your favorite?
Yeah.
But you've seen a few of these different names. What names are priority that you think right now, just kind of from what you've seen, you've heard, we had individuals that were a favorite, like Avion Terrell was a favorite early on, and then it kind of went to Dylan Thinneman. Now we're hearing, the Tyler Forness thing came out, and now everyone's kind of souring now on Dylan Thinneman again a little bit, and now maybe Peter Woods is the new favorite for these. But this is kind of a draft wish list, at least in round one, that I kind of previewed last week as well too. So these are some of the names that we've loved seeing, at least at possibly 18. I know Mansour Delane, it's probably not going to happen, but these are some of the names that could be available to where we could be looking at in round one. And from what you've seen and just what are you kind of thinking?
Yo, what's crazy, Steve, is as far as round one, nobody yet has picked. Well, actually, I lied. I think Dom and my boy Brev. I think they actually might have picked Let me see who they picked real quick. No, they got Caden McDonald. So they picked Caden McDonald with their first round pick. It's crazy. The only thing that I'm seeing that's the same is running back Mike. Who is it? Mike
Washington out of Arkansas. Yeah.
Arkansas. So that's the only name that I've seen so far out of the three. But as we're doing mocks, though, I will say, like, yes, like even before I started the mock madness, out of these names right here, I would say the Inman and Warren are kind of back and forth where we feel like we're going safety. I did a video actually yesterday, and we can touch on that real quick too, how
Sure.
I feel about the safety position and why I feel like Harrison Smith, not intentionally, but I do feel like Harrison Smith may be holding up some of the process here, because here's my thing.
We
If
need an
Harrison
answer, right?
Smith yes, because if Harrison Smith decides to stay, then okay, then you're probably shouldn't, not saying you won't, but in my opinion, you shouldn't go safety and with the 18th pick. I feel like maybe you can get value some at another position. Because then if that's the case, next year you can go safety. I'm sure there's going to be a couple dogs coming out next year too.
Not to mention, we got to pay him, right?
Not to, exactly. So and again, I made it clear in the video. I don't think Harrison Smith is sitting back saying, "Aha, I'm going to sit here and just drag this on so that
Sure.
the Minnesota." I'm sure there's discussions behind the scenes, but like I just feel like he needs to make a decision so we'll know, because if he leaves, then yes, we need to replace that. So that makes the vision clearer for us, knowing like, all right, we're going Emmanuel McNeil Warren, or we're going Dylan Thieneman if they're there, because we need that Harrison Smith replacement. So again, I was telling Brev the other day, I think we put it in the Discord. We were going back and forth in the Discord. Like, to me, it's hard to really gauge where our team is going to go, but I think a lot of it has to lean on Harrison Smith's decision. I mean, obviously, it seems like he's going to stay because you have other players that have retired, and CJ Ham and stuff, and they've made their decision. So if we're dragging it this far,
nothing's been done with, you don't have no interview like you did with Adam Thielen. And I think possibly if he was going to do something, that probably would have been, maybe the three of them retired together type thing, because those three also all played together.
Exactly.
You could see that kind of thing happening. So you can tell he's definitely on the fence.
Yep. And now, are you opposed? And I said it in my video too, Steve. I'm not opposed to Harrison Smith. I don't think any Vikings fan is going to be like furious because Harrison Smith decides to come back and play football in 2026. I mean, but I will say, I would like to get younger. I'll just say that I would like to get younger.
I would like to as well. But the but I will put in here is, I think, let's just say we take a young safety. It doesn't have to be at 18, but we take a young safety. I feel like the Vikings would not be super comfortable throwing them in the fire right away. And I think they would like to have them learn behind Harrison Smith if possible. And I think, I just think that that's probably the preference for playing that position, especially the way that Harrison Smith does. That adds just a significant element, and it gives Brian Flores so much flexibility in what he can do with that defense when he's on the field.
Yeah.
And I think just looking at our team and what we're doing, bringing in Kyler, bringing back TJ, bringing back Aaron Jones, we're trying to run it back.
Yeah.
We're, KOC's a little bit of a hot seat right now. He needs to make the playoffs, win. So do you stand a better chance bringing back Harrison Smith, who I think still showed last year that he still has some in the tank?
Yeah.
So I think that's a Vikings preference as well, too, as bringing him back. I'm a huge fan. I would love to see that. Save.
Oh, so you would love to see it.
I'm a big Harrison Smith fan, so absolutely.
Okay.
I think the way that he plays safety, he should be absolutely a Hall of Famer. I don't even think there should be a question on that.
Yeah.
But there's not a whole lot of safeties in this draft that you could look at and say, boom, automatically, they're ready to start right now.
And I said that in my video, Steve. People would say Dylan Thieneman is Harrison Smith's replacement, and I'm like, why? Is it because he's a white safety? I mean, the obvious there. It's just like, you know how it is. It's always like that. It's just like every white running back they say is Christian McCaffrey. It's just like, come on, man. Can you compare him to somebody else? Because to me, Dylan Thieneman doesn't play like Harrison Smith, in my opinion. To me, when I watch Dylan Thieneman play, because I have gone and done my research on him, he doesn't resemble him at all. The only thing they have in common is they're both white and they play safety. That's it. That's it. To me. Now, I could be missing something there.
I do wonder if some of it is also the Vikings organization and KOC and them just saying like where they are with money right now.
Yeah.
We'll see how the draft goes.
Yeah.
So part of it could be that Harrison wants to come back for a final year and trying to figure out where the money situation, what they can afford. And I think who they end up drafting matters.
Yeah.
Let's just say there's, let's just say there's a world where Caleb Downs somehow falls to 18.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
If that were to happen, he is probably one of those safeties where he is ready to play right away.
Yeah. I think his pro day sewed it up to where he's going to get drafted where he needs to be drafted.
And Norris, you're saying Bud Clark from
I like Bud
TCU
Clark,
could play like
TCU.
Hitman?
Yep. He's
yeah.
more like Hitman. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Bud Clark is more like a Hitman. Yes.
And I like that pick, but still, even with a Bud Clark, I think the Vikings would prefer to ease him in. Learn the playbook, learn the way that Flores runs that defense. That way you're not missing assignments, getting burnt because you don't know where you're supposed to be on the field in this defense, trying to disguise. And I think, a lot of that with chemistry with that defense, just, is that enough time to be able to pick that up through training camp and start the season? I just think that the Vikings would prefer to have Hitman there initially and kind of easing Downs.
And somebody said too, Steve, on my video, they said they had a good point there where B-Flow doesn't like to play young players anyway, like rookies. So that's another thing we got to consider too. Is B-Flow probably would much rather have a guy out there damn near on a cane, damn near about to start collecting Social Security, but at least understands the game. You know what I mean? Like for real, but understands the game, the assignment.
Let's not give Harrison Smith a cane just yet. He's only 37. He's
he's a good.
I'm not ready for a cane quite yet.
Yeah, but I'm the same age. I'm the same age.
So we'll see what happens, I guess. But I'd like to see it. But some of the NFL draft names that I've also seen that the Vikings are bringing in, we talked about these. Oh, sorry, I need to get rid of that one. We've seen the Vikings are now visiting with and who they've met with. Georgia State, Ted Hurst. That could be, an ideal player for the Vikings to bring in, maybe somewhere around that late third round where they could bring in Ted Hurst to be the wide receiver 3, especially if they don't think that Ty Felton's that guy, or even just to bolster that wide receiver room, because we still don't know for sure, even though it sounds like we're going to pay Jordan Addison. We don't know that. Washington running back Jonah Coleman. We also know Wake Forest Damon Claiborne for a running back.
Guy.
We've also heard Nebraska's Emmett Johnson for a potential future visit. But then Trayvon Stukes, we know that out of Arizona, cornerback. So he's meeting as well with the Vikings. So, and that's happening, I think, tonight. I think was the X post that I saw right before we went on here that we were kind of talking about earlier. So, there's some different individuals, especially like Stukes. Stukes might be a second, third round pick. He's in that range, so what we were talking about, so we talked about the first round, but a lot of these guys are second, third round guys that you're seeing right now. Especially Coleman, Hurst, Hill,
Claiborne.
Claiborne could be in that mix as well too.
He could even drop further, honestly. I think people are sleeping.
And I think we got to take a running back. And we brought up Jadarian Price, out of Notre Dame. You brought up Mike Washington earlier from Arkansas. Where do we take those guys? Because I'd love to see us go defense in the first round, whether it's a safety, whether it's a Peter Woods type guy, defensive tackle. This just say we go defense with that first pick. That second pick at 49, do we go offense because we don't think, we think that maybe Jonah Coleman, Damon Claiborne, Emmett Johnson, let's just say that there's that big of a drop off, they think, between Jadarian Price and Mike Washington. Do they take a running back at number 2? At number 49? Or do they risk or do they risk taking another defensive player like a AJ Halsey at safety, because you went Peter Woods defensive tackle or something like that? Or maybe they risk you go Caleb Banks with that broken foot. But let's just say that they do defensive tackle, safety. You're probably left with looking at in either 82 or 97 for like
Yeah.
a Jonah Coleman, Claiborne, and
Yeah.
Johnson, if you're looking at going running back.
Yeah. So the reports are coming out that we saw where the Vikings are definitely looking at going running back within the top 100. So I don't want to miss out on my guy Jacob Rodriguez. So I say
Mhm.
that to say with
Yeah,
the
he's a
second
second round
pick,
guy.
that would probably be if he's there, I say you have to pull the trigger on him, just because, man, you need to get players like that on this team, man. I just think he would bring a ton of value for years and years to come. It's not just about draft night. It's about next year, the year after, having a leader
Mhm.
like that can step in and take over for the Blake Cashmans of the world and be somebody that wears the C. I just think he would be that type of guy. He's just built like that, right? Like I can see him having the C on his jersey within 2 seasons and be really out there handling business. I mean, he's a playmaker, so I want to do that. And my favorite running back on this list is Wake Forest running back Damon Claiborne. I love that kid. I mean, that kid, man, to me, great value. You could probably get him we don't have a fourth, right? We got a third round. So you would have
Right. We
to,
got 2/3,
yeah, 2/3. So
82 and 97.
yeah. So the 97, there's a good chance he would still be there, I would
Mhm.
think, so that's probably where I would go with that. But the Mike Washington too, I've been watching him, bro. He looks good too, man. There's some running backs in this draft. I will say I'm not really a big fan of Jonah Coleman. I don't know how you feel about him, but I watched him. He just doesn't excite me. There's something about him that just seems very normal, just like very like
Mhm.
just whatever. This one of those guys that's gonna average 3 yards a carry type deal. I want a playmaker. I want a home run hitter. Mike Washington brings that. Damon Claiborne brings that. That's where I would go. I would use it with that 97, man. But yes, Jacob Rodriguez is by far my favorite player in this draft, honestly. Like he's my favorite player in this draft. I know I had a super hot take, Steve, that I'm sure you've seen where I said, why not 18? You know what I mean? Obviously, I got scolded for it, but
Sure.
I look at it like if you really believe that he can be that player, who cares what the number is as far as where you pick him? It's
And
about
and
getting the
we've done
good
that
player.
before. We've done
Yeah,
that before.
yeah.
So
So,
it's definitely possible if we're that high on a guy.
yeah,
Now, how much do you read into these visits? Do these visits absolutely mean these are guys that we're truly interested in? Because, there's kind of a psychology sometimes in some of
yeah.
this stuff
Oh, yeah.
where when you're drafted and other teams are looking to maybe like jump you
Mhm.
to get a guy, sometimes you don't want to like show your hand, your
Right.
poker hand, if you will.
Mhm.
You don't want to show that. Let's just say that the Vikings were super interested in an individual. I
Mhm.
may not want to have a top 30 meeting with that player because I already know I like him.
Right.
I don't need to meet him. I already know I like him.
Yeah.
But what I don't want to tell is these other teams, as I'm coming up, I don't want them to jump up and snipe me because they think I'm going to draft a Jacob Rodriguez.
Yeah.
If that's their guy,
Yeah.
for instance,
Yeah.
they probably don't want to let the world know that, hey, I'm really interested in this guy. So someone jumps up and grabs him.
It's I would be interested. These are I love people that do things like this because these are the things that I don't have time to do. Would be to
Hmm.
go back the past couple years, look at all of our top 30 visits, like and see has any are those players on that list? Are they becoming Minnesota Vikings on draft night? That
Sure.
would be interesting. That would be an interesting thing to look at. I would say I agree with you. I think a lot of it, there's a lot of psychology behind it. Obviously, it's you're playing chess, not checkers. All the organizations do it, but
Hmm.
again, you probably do have players that you are really excited about too, when you're just like, hey, I just need to learn a little more, meet them in person, try to get some character, get ahead of the game, figure out some character things that's going on with them, see where the player's mind's at.
Right.
But like you said, for example, we don't bring in Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, that does not mean that the Vikings aren't super high on him. And it's like,
Yeah,
bro, let's not show
absolutely.
other teams that we like him because if he's there, we're taking him. We don't have to meet with him. We know we're
Everybody's
taking him.
mocking, Dylan Finneman to us, right?
Yeah.
Well, how come we
Yeah.
haven't brought him in for a visit? Does
Yeah.
that mean we don't like him?
Hey, we didn't bring C for a
We
visit.
haven't Peter Woods. He hasn't been in.
Yeah. Yeah. It always seems too like the 30-30 visits are the top 30 visits are always like players that that we're really not too hot. Like usually the community as we're doing mocks, it's like,
Mhm.
oh dang, I didn't expect us to bring him in and bring him
Yeah.
in. It's like, where's all the other like big name play? Why we ain't bringing them in? It's like,
Mhm.
so yeah, you're right. I mean, it's crazy, man. I'm excited though. It's right around the corner. I can't wait to see. I feel like every year we think we know, and then our team just surprises. The last year was super surprising with Donovan Jackson. I mean, again, I'll go back to last year, Steve. We were doing mocks, and not one person out of and last year we did way more mocks than I've done this year so far. Like I mean, we mocked times two,
Yep.
and nobody was saying, "Yeah, grab Donovan Jackson right there. That's who we're getting." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it was like, yo, out of nowhere. And then same thing with
A
with the
and he
senior
was
year.
ranked like 40 something,
Yeah.
and we drafted him early. So like you said, I mean, that's roughly where where Jacob Rodriguez,
Yeah, in the
his
40s.
average draft, but he's in
Yep,
the 40s.
yep.
So I mean, it's not like, uh, totally out of this world that would happen.
How would you feel about it though, personally? Like, what would your reaction be if the Vikings really at 18 said, "You know what, we're going J-Rod."
I would say you took him early,
Yeah, yeah.
you
I
know.
figured. I mean, and I get it. Like again, I get it.
I
I'm just
just
one of
don't
those
think
guys,
that's
man. Yeah.
no, no, no. Okay, let's
Because
just
it
say
comes to the
that's
money too, because you got to
sure.
pay him first round.
But if that's your guy, if Jacob Rodriguez is your guy that, and just what's on the board you
Yeah,
don't like, trade back a little bit and then
yeah,
still get your guy.
yeah,
That's all I would be at is, if that's truly your guy that you want.
yeah.
But I mean, if
Because you could trade back to like 33, 34.
so
Get him.
everyone's doing research on all these other teams and who they've
Yeah,
met with and that kind of thing too. So they're all playing that game where their holes are at.
yeah,
So you're all thinking, okay, well, I can trade back this many positions and still get my guy because these teams are going to take these players,
yeah,
who they think they're going to take.
yeah,
So they're all doing that game. But yeah, for a situation like that, I feel like you could have traded back and do that and still got your guy. But just looking at how it's turned out so far, again, it's just one season
hmm,
with Donovan Jackson. They probably made the right pick. It
yeah,
looks like, right?
yeah.
So far.
So far, so good, man. Yeah, no, he looks like he's gonna be a great guard for us for years and years to come, which is what we need. So it feels good to. I feel very confident in that pick. That was some I will give Quasey his flowers if that's who we're gonna give the credit to here.
Sure.
That was a great pick, man. It was a great pick. It caught me by surprise, but I tell you what, he came in and he looks like somebody who's gonna be a beast for years to come, man. For years to come. Him and Darrisaw, if we can get Darrisaw to just stay on the field, I mean, the left side of that line should be sewed up. You know what I mean? Any quarterback should be good, man, because their blind side will be covered.
Yeah, I think the biggest question mark for us on the offensive line is what we do on the center position.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I do expect us to pick up a center somewhere in this draft,
Yeah.
just because I think there's a lot of good value at the center position. I don't
Mhm.
expect us to take one. I would be shocked if we took one earlier than 97.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't
if we did take one at 82, then hey, we did. I just I just think that at 97 you can probably still get Logan Jones and
yeah.
Pat Coogan still available on the board.
I love Pat.
I just feel like we have some
Jake
other
Slaughter.
positions in BPA, like Slaughter's there too. There is Hacked out there from Kansas State that I'm really high on as well too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be pissed off at it. I
Yeah.
guess if you went with Connor Liu, Slaughter or Hacked at 82, and we had really solid picks to fill holes at 18 and 49,
Mhm.
I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
Let's just say that we get Peter Woods,
Yeah.
and then we go Jadarian Price,
Yeah.
we go Connor Liu, and then right after that, we end up taking a safety position and we fill four big needs right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it.
No, I like it. Somewhere in that area, if we go safety after that, a guy like Genesis Smith from Arizona is
Yeah.
somebody who I'm definitely high on. That dude can ball. That's again, we can go get a valuable safety
Mm-hmm.
in the later rounds. So, there's some safeties under the radar in this draft too. So that's another reason why I'm kind of opposed to going safety in the first round, especially at 18.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, man.
You can get Cole Wisniewski out of Texas Tech in the 6th round.
Yeah,
There's some good value that's still there
yeah,
later on. And he's
yeah,
he's a really good safety,
yeah.
and I
I'm not
think
too
he's
fond about going
undervalued.
safety at pick 18, regardless of the name, unless it's
Oh no
Caleb
no no!
Downs.
In the
Let's Caleb
6th
Downs.
round, yeah, Caleb
Yeah,
Downs, if he's there, absolutely.
yeah,
The guy I
yeah.
still really want to see though is Mansour Delane at
Yeah, I
18.
don't think he's not gonna fall.
No,
Yeah, I don't
but
think
I
he's
just
gonna
want to
fall.
see Brev come on this show and have to shave his head
Oh,
if we do it, because I got him on video saying
oh,
he'll shave
that'd
his
be
head if
crazy,
we pick Mansour Delayed. So that would
man.
be a wild episode to see
Do
that,
you see any scenario where the Minnesota Vikings would think about trading up for Delane
or like a Jeremiah Love.
or
Uh,
a Love? Yeah, yeah,
Delane, depends how far. I think let's just say Delane slides past 11.
yeah,
And it's like pick 13.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a possibility there.
Hmm.
Because I think if you value him that much,
Yeah,
you either need to do it or some other team's going to jump you at that point.
yeah.
Because if he slides past 11,
It's
teams are
just
going to be
hard to
calling.
see him. Yeah, it's just hard to see. Like, I just can't think of 11 players that are going to get picked before him, especially how corners are needed every year for every team. You know what I
Norris
mean?
agrees. Delane is the only one we should even attempt to jump for, he
Yeah,
says.
yeah. And because every team needs corners every single year, man. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like when there's a stud corner in the draft, they know for a fact they're getting picked up quick, man. Especially when there's somebody like Delane who's proven that he can do it all.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean,
yeah,
he's the only one that I would probably maybe consider, because I just think, um, I don't think Love's going to be, I don't even think that's possible. I think
yeah,
he'll be gone. And
yeah,
I don't know if, teams would want the world to even trade up knowing that that's who you're going for.
yeah.
But I think we're good where we're at. I think if anything, I like the idea of potentially, depending on who's there at 18, still potentially trading back a few picks and still getting a guy you value really high, and
Hmm.
getting younger as a team and accumulating as many picks as we can in the first 3 rounds. Right now
Hmm.
we have 4 picks. So, I mean, if we went up for Delane, we're probably still getting rid of another additional 2 picks.
Hmm.
And we maybe only come out with Delane and one other pick in the first 2 days. And if that's the case, I hate that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, no,
mean,
I agree.
now you're happy you got Delane, but like the scenario I just posed to you, if we came out of that with what could be 3 starters and like a Peter Woods, Jadarian Price future starter, right?
Hmm.
In like a Connor Liu type scenario, where you maybe have 3 starters out of that
Hmm.
versus Mansour Delane, you get 1 starter.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. That's just something I would say, and the draft's always a crapshoot, right? We've seen
Right.
players drafted in the first round not pan out. I'd
Right.
rather have more shots at having good quality starters
Mhm.
than one.
And I really don't like. I'm gonna be honest. Speaking of the running back, I don't really like what the team has done thus far when it comes to the running backs. And the main thing, I guess, is bringing back Aaron Jones, uh, because to me it shows it. To me, it sends a signal of, hey, we're good at running back. Like I know there's reports about the Vikings are gonna go and get, but it's like we talk about Jeremiah Love. Why,
Yeah.
if that, I feel like if that was the case, you wouldn't have brought back Aaron Jones and you have Jordan Mason. I feel like the team is comfortable with who we have, and they'll be looking for just a developmental guy that's going to be RB3 that can compete and maybe be the future next year, maybe step up and be the guy. But I don't see them going after one of the high end backs, which really, I guess there's only really one in this draft when you think about it, and that is Love as far as being the superstar. All the other backs are kind of on the same level. When you think about Mike, you think about the Claiborne and Price, all those guys, I guess, would kind of be in the same tier. But yeah, Love, I just don't see the Vikings doing it. To me, it just seems like they already told us that when they brought Aaron Jones back, it was kind of telling us like, nah, we're good. We trust Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason to hold it down again, at least for 2026.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, bringing Aaron Jones back, I mean, they wouldn't have released him if they wanted him to stay with the team. I really feel like in free agency, we tried to go for somebody and we didn't get our guy.
Yeah.
And so
I think we went after Kenneth Walker.
Maybe.
Yeah. But Brees Hall.
Sounds like, there's at least talk. I don't know how much truth to it. We weren't at least in the top 3 for ETN, which I'm glad that we weren't after seeing how much he cost.
Yeah.
But, I think we went after a player or 2.
Yeah.
And we just weren't able to sign our guy. And I think we were a little bit hamstrung with where we were salary cap wise and trying to make a deal as well.
Yeah.
So I think that affected some things too. So,
but I would have been okay with going in the draft for his replacement. I would have been perfectly fine with that. Like you said, between round 2 and 3, I mean, I feel like you could have got a guy that could step in and give us a good run game.
Yeah. No, and I think if we were going to pay, Aaron Jones $5 million, why not pay 6 and bring in Rico Dowdle?
Yeah, or Rico. Yeah, I'm with you.
Like the Steelers did.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I thought that he would cost more than that, and I'm kind of shocked the Steelers got him for that kind of a deal. But maybe the Vikings are thinking, we don't want to pay somebody for a multi-year deal unless we get our guy. Who they were going for a multi-year deal because they wanted to pick up somebody in the draft and get younger.
Yeah.
So that absolutely could have been part of it. Go younger and get cheaper. That way they could really kind of, because I think this is really a defining year in 26. We have a lot of free agents in 27. This team's going to look probably entirely different depending on how this season goes in 27 with how many free agents we have. And potentially what we could be looking at is a blow it up type of year in 27 or a major retooling with a lot of salary cap money in 27.
Yeah. No, that's a fact. This draft's important, man. This draft has to make up for a lot of missed drafts that we've had the past 3 years, in my opinion. And I know we have a player here or there, but I mean, this draft being the volume of picks we have, this is an important year for the Minnesota Vikings for the future, man. I think like you said, I would love to walk away with 3 guys that can make an impact right away in 2026 and not wait, and be on some type of snap count and, maybe next year they're just still developing. No, man, I'm ready to get some players out there in 2026. Like in April, I want some guys, at least 3 that come in 2026 and we're, jerseys are on the shelf and fans are supporting them. They're out there making plays, man. Don't have to be a superstar, but be an impact player.
Yeah, I'm excited for camp for sure. Just to see some of these guys out there that we end up with in the draft, see them moving around. Hopefully some positive news that we're excited to see them play because we think they're going to be impact players for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, Rap, I know you joined us a little bit late, but I still think that this was awesome getting you on. I'd love to have you on again.
Yeah.
Those of you guys out there, if you're not already following Rap, I got to get rid of this here first. Make sure that you're following Rap on social media. Okay. X, YouTube.
Nice graphic.
Go get Vocal Vike out there. Follow that. See the Purple Pocket pod that he's doing.
Yeah, man.
And you're doing that multiple times during the week, right?
Yeah, man. So I'm very random, Steve. I'm not so much of a scout. One thing for sure is Friday nights are my that's my golden day, man. I'm going live Friday unless there's an emergency or something going on. But Fridays, I'm there throughout the whenever you see me go live on a Tuesday, Wednesday, usually it's random if I'm by myself specifically, unless it's something planned. But like, yeah, man, it's just, hey, I always tell people, turn your notification bell on because you never know when I might hit the live button. Sometimes I get home from my 9 to 5 and I'm like, you know what? I feel like just tapping in with the community tonight and seeing what's going on. Go through X, look at some stuff. So yeah, man, I appreciate all the support. It's been amazing, bro. We got one of the best communities in the world, and I know every fan base, somebody who does content for their team is gonna say that, but I truly believe like the Vikings, man, our community on YouTube is the best. We represent the right way. So I'm very blessed to be able to be a part of it and do content and work with people like you. I told you the other day, you're going to be a big dog here soon, man, not only on YouTube, but on X as well. If you already are that, the way you post and stuff, man, and spread information, bro. So I appreciate you. You'll be one of the channels on X for sure that I go on, like I do Vikings fan page, where I'm just like, hey, what's going on in Vikings world? Oh, let's just go over there and tap in with Steve, man. I know he got it on there. Let's get it. So
Well, I
appreciate you,
definitely
man.
appreciate the praise and like you said, awesome Vikings community. I want to thank everyone. And I know that I've had some individuals from being on your show that have came over and they're now
Yep.
watchers over here.
Nice.
And I appreciate it. Like Barber, like Norris,
Yeah. Nice.
coming over here, and that's awesome to see.
Yeah,
For
man.
sure.
Yeah.
Those of you guys that are out there, if you're not already following us, Vikings Playbook on X, Vikes Playbook on YouTube, and then you can search Vikings Playbook on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well too. Make sure you go out there to try to support. Hit that subscribe button and that alert button as well too. You can usually find Vikings Playbook every Saturday at 9 p.m. CST. We did this one a little bit early because I'm going to be gone this weekend. But Sunday starts here with Vikings Playbook. So hopefully we can get you guys on. And if you're not already checking it out, I also write for PurplePTSD.com. Go ahead and check that out for more Vikings news that we're trying to provide for you. We have great writers over there, like Brev as well too.
Yeah, shout out Brev. Brev writes over there, right? Yeah,
absolutely. So go check us out over there at PurplePTSD.com. Our Vikings Playbook episodes also air on PurplePTSD.com, so you can also check that out there if you're not able to, or if you're not a YouTube person as well. So
yeah. I always admire you guys, man, that can write, Steve. It's definitely a skill to be able to do it. Like I can write music, but I know for sure I couldn't write no article about is Jordan Addison going to get an extension in 2026 or 7? Like, it would be nasty work. So, man, I always got to give you your props, man. Give you your flowers for that.
I want to hear the music. We'll have to.
Man, I got you, bro.
Yeah, you'll have to share that. So I definitely want to hear that.
I got you, bro, for sure. Yeah.
Well, check us out next Saturday. Like I said, if you're interested in doing some mock drafts with me, next Saturday, 9 p.m. CST. Make sure you guys tune in. But for Vikings Playbook, that's wrap. I'm Steve Hoikkala. We'll catch you next time on Vikings Playbook. We'll see you guys. We're out here.